Hello and welcome to Celtic World, the YouTube channel and podcast connecting Celtic fans all over the planet. From Govan to Guernica, Banbridge to Baltimore. You too can be part of a Celtic World. At these exciting times, hooray, this is the first time we're going out at what's now 11 o'clock in Glasgow and places like that. But these blooming daylight saving times are a complete nightmare. Stephen, I understand from you that Sydney's going to change in a week or something.
Yeah, next weekend Sydney changes, so it's 9 p.m. here at the moment, but next weekend we'll be streaming live at 8 p.m.
So for all of our thousands of viewers in New South Wales and in fact the east coast of Australia, they'll have to watch out for that change, right?
That's it, yeah.
Well, I'm going to assume from our little exchange that you're well, Stephen, and move on to Brian. How are you doing, Brian, in Ireland?
Doing great, yeah. Another rainy day in Banbridge. Yeah.
Is that a Pogue song?
A rainy day in Banbridge? No, definitely not. Definitely not. Feel sorry for the LA guys, 3 a.m. kickoff, but they're probably getting home by now.
Well, that's it. You come home after a big night out, what could be better than sitting down and having some crack with the likes of Stephen, Brian, and indeed Paul in Perth.
Hey Gav, how are you?
Very well. How are you?
Yeah, good. Another lovely 29, 30 degree day. Seems like we've got another 10 days at least of those coming. So yeah, pretty good weekend all round, and yeah, good to come on and chat to you guys before going back to work tomorrow.
Was a pretty good weekend all round, and the highlight for me, I don't know about you guys, was the Celtic World Watch Along, where Stephen and Dano entertained us during the game. Brian, you were there, weren't you?
I nipped in for some of it when Dano was talking about moving house. So that was funny. I commented that it's too true about Stephen's moving house and the amount of junk. I'm looking around here. I'm still getting rid of stuff from my father's house. So I feel your pain, Stephen. I still have stuff from our day, school days, Gav, and homework diaries and all kinds of things.
We stumbled across today the receipt from the pram that we bought when my son was born from the pram centre in Glasgow, and my son is just about to turn 27. So. So that should give you a flavour of the task that's facing us at the moment. But yeah,
and also a flavour of the tangential conversation that goes on during a watch along. Lots of Korean information, such as flooring options popular among Koreans, as well as the prevalence of short blonde haircuts. Those were two of the highlights. No pun intended for me. But the interesting thing about doing a watch along, Stephen, is that it's tomorrow. It's the day after the watch along, and I watched you reacting in real time to the game. We're now going to talk about the game, and we'll be able to see if any opinions have changed at all, given time to ruminate on them and stuff. So that adds a slightly different element to it. So
you're kind of reacting in real time. So without the benefit of hindsight, or without the benefit of watching 5 or 6 replays to a certain incident, so it's quite an interesting experience.
So first of all, we're talking about the watch along as we speak, and we're going to just move on to the game now after that, and then what lessons we've learned from it. And we'll talk a little bit about the derby coming up, and of course Celtic socials. So the only other thing to do before we get into the game is to mention that we have a new lookalike that cropped up during the watch along. Did you notice this one, Stephen? This is for Dano.
I didn't actually know that one slipped under my radar.
Somebody pointed out that Dano is the spitting image of this fella. Who's that, Brian?
That's somewhat Keith Lemon, is it?
Keith Lemon. And
I did see that chat. I didn't make the connection though to Dano.
And the next picture is one that when I think of Dano, I think of this. There you go.
Nice
Another
boots.
Keith Lemon. That summarises Dano's personality quite well, I'd say. You a fan of Keith Lemon, Paul? Did you think he was best doing this? Voice elector.
That was some quality stuff. He's from Leeds. And I spent 8 or 9 years early in my career in Leeds, and his character in Bow Selector was called David Merion, and Merion was the name of one of the local shopping centres, and actually, where the first place that I worked when I was in Leeds was a little office tucked into the Merion Centre. So quite a funny little connection there. But what's the panel show, the music panel show that he hosted with? That's the thing I like best that he did, but I can't remember for the life of me what it's called. That shows my age. Memory not the best. One of the guys in the comments will probably tell us, but yeah, that panel show that he was the host of, that was pretty funny. It was like a modern version of Shooting Stars, which is kind of more my vintage.
And the other thing to mention about the game is that Robert was at it. Robert from Celtic World. There he is. Outside the Vale of Almonds. Almond Vale is a much nicer name, isn't it, anyway, than Tony Macaroni, obviously. Yes. Fascinating. Okay, let's get on with the game then. I hear you cry. Stephen, while I'm fiddling about for the graphics, you can tell us what your reaction was to the team lineup.
Well, I mean, the big thing was obviously the inclusion of Reo Hatate for his first start for a number of months. So delighted to see him. There had been a bit of chat beforehand whether Hatate or Carter Vickers would be risked on the hideous surface at Livingston, but I felt myself that we really don't have a choice at this stage of the season. You know, any drop points at this point can be fatal. So we had to. You've got to just risk it and hope that they came through okay. As it happened, the risk paid off. So that was that was the only real surprise, not surprise, but the only thing that jumped off the starting lineup.
Okay, and then I've got a whole bunch of stills like we started doing recently. So let's just go through these. This is in the first half. The first real action was Johnson to Kyogo, step one. And then got a chance for Johnson to put in this cross, which didn't come to anything. Brian, do you recall this moment?
I don't. Sorry.
Okay. Paul, do you recall this moment?
Yeah. Is this the one where he crosses it in and Kyogo gets a slight touch, puts it past the post, and he was offside in the end anyway? I think the flag was up. Right. But yeah, it was good interplay, and then carved it. Well, a chance if he'd been on.
And then this is Kuhn's moment. Brian, do you recall this?
I feel like I'm in a Spanish class in second year. Gav gave me a bit of PTSD this morning. I don't. I was probably watching behind the settee, worrying about CTV and Rio. No, I can't.
Well, when you look at that as a still, you think, oh my goodness, surely he should have done better there, because you see the direction of travel of the ball there. In a sense, this was an angry climax. Steve, do you know what I mean by that? In other words, it was a cross come shot. So neither one thing nor t'other. It's quite frustrating.
Yeah, I think he caught betwixt and between there, didn't he? Didn't really know whether he was trying to lob it in for Kyogo for a header or try and find the back post himself. And he ended up doing neither. So not a great finish from him.
Great ball by Hatate to find him though.
Yep.
And Stephen, tell us about your reaction to the penalty incident, which we're about to look at.
Well, I mean, I think you could probably, even if you haven't seen it, you could probably imagine what my reaction was. It was an absolute stonemaller, and you know, even on first glance, you can see the guys come right through the back of Kyogo, and you know, first of all, for the ref not to give the penalty, and then second of all, for it not to go up for VAR to review, or not to be sent back down for the ref to have a look at it on the screen. It's just I don't know. I don't know how much more you can say on referees after what we've been through the last few weeks. So after seeing what was given against us at Tynecastle, after seeing what was given for Rangers the day before at Ibrox against Hibernian, and what's been given in their favour all season long, and for that not to be a penalty is just completely disgraceful. And I think that was probably worse than anything that happened at Tynecastle. So if we were asking to hear the VAR audio for the Tynecastle incidents, we should be doubly determined to get a hold of the VAR audio for that incident, because I would love to know, what did they say, what did they see, or what did they pretend they saw or pretend they didn't see? Because to me, just disgraceful.
Well, I wonder, are we all in agreement? Because you were straight away going, penalty, clear penalty, definite contact, Stonewaller. And I was kind of watching it thinking, is it? And it wasn't until I saw quite a few replays, really, especially this one, that I thought, well, it really is. You can see there, the defender's knee goes into the side, struck back of Kyogo's knee, pushing it forward. And he kind of falls.
His left hand going towards Kyogo's shoulder, We all know Kyogo's a bit of a dodgy shoulder, and he's making...
Well, it was the knee through the back for me.
The knee through the back as well,
clear.
yeah.
Are we all in agreement?
Yep.
Paul?
Yeah, Stonewaller. I agree with you, Gav. Like, I thought it was probably a penalty first up, but how much contact? Because you're looking at the feet first for main contact, and there was sort of definite contact there as well, but probably less convincing. But that, when the knee comes through the back of the knee, that's solid contact. Alan Muir's got that footage, and he doesn't refer it. I agree with Steve. It's just scandalous, really, and to the point of laughable that we're at this stage, given everything that's come before.
Well, it's all the more reason why, Celtic shareholders should be coming together and getting behind that Sentinel Celts motion to try and, make some sort of impact on this Scottish SFA refereeing situation.
If anyone's not aware of who Alan Muir is, it's probably worthwhile refreshing our memories that he was what was called the goal line official when we had such a thing in the Scottish Cup semi-final against Inverness Caley Thistle a few years back when Ronnie Dyla was going for a treble, and he's the man who infamously didn't see a blatant handball on the line to stop a certain goal from a Lee Griffiths header in a game that Celtic went on to lose, denying Ronnie Dyla a treble that he absolutely deserved. So that's the man, and that's the calibre of guy you're talking about here. So we've had experience with him before, and I think what's annoying me about all these incidents is that the referee on the pitch is culpable, but the main culpability lies with the VAR official, and these guys are faceless in the game itself because they're not there. They're in a studio somewhere watching this, and they're totally detached from the game. They're not going to feel the wrath of the fans, or they're not going to get booed going off the park, and they're just quite happily manipulating results. Let's be quite honest about it here. That's what's happening. And I know we went on to win the game quite comfortably, but Celtic really need to be calling this out. Absolutely disgraceful, and something that can't be allowed to continue.
Well, that's true. The SFA is, getting back to the Sentinel Celts motion, in terms of refereeing, isn't just judge, jury and executioner, but it's also the judiciary, legislature and government. There are literally no checks and balances. They are in charge of everything. So there's no consequences for poor performance. It's absolute power, or power, as they say in Belfast, Brian, when it comes to refereeing. As the saying goes, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, complete disaster.
I think it's not right talking about Celtic groups taking this forward, and I think that's probably a decent initiative by the Sentinel Celts. But really this has to come from the league as a whole, because every team, including Celtic, is now suffering. We saw it happening to Hibs on the weekend. It's happened to numerous teams this season. And as long as people are just prepared to laugh it off as a bit of a gag, as Celtic do quite often, as they did at the last AGM, when Michael Nicholson made a joke about penalty to Rangers, until the whole league just looks at this and says, this can't go on, and as a collective body, just go to the SFH, you need to do something about this, and they just can't possibly ignore that. At the moment, they can just sort of ignore it as a Celtic issue. This is just Celtic being Celtic, conspiracy theories. And you saw Chris Boyd's disgrace. If you were unfortunate enough like me to be watching the Sky Sports coverage, Chris Boyd's comments were beyond disgraceful, and his behaviour was like a petulant schoolboy. And he just, after being shown that what he was saying, what he was describing on the incident was just a complete lie. He just went, "Oh well, it's a conspiracy then," and that's all he had to say. I'm lost for words for where Chris Boyd's concerned. This has to be something that comes from every club in the league and not just Celtic.
It does, but Celtic can lead the way, and others can get behind a similar motion because it affects them as much as anyone, as much as us. And somebody has to lead it, So this is step one. This is the shareholders trying to get Celtic to take a position of leadership on it. Okay, well, let's get back to the game. Brian, if you recognize any of these moments, feel free to jump in and say, I'll take this one. This is Hatate's shot from just outside the box that flashed wide. There's quite a few moments in the first half. And then this is a Kyogo shot that the keeper saved point blank, one of many point blank saves, really, after a sumptuous O'Reilly pass. Do you remember this, Paul? You probably remember O'Reilly's pass.
Yeah, he's sort of he wins the ball deep in our half and sort of on the swivel. Plays it sort of down and into the channel, and Kyogo's off and after it. The two defenders kind of barely put up any opposition. He gets by them, and then on his, I think his left foot, he hits it on in the end. But anyway, puts it down towards the bottom corner. Keeper makes a really good save. Vieira's actually in sniffing, but the defender gets us there first and sort of that fallen swinging leg and gets it clear from the box. But that's about as close as we came first half. I think it was the only shot on target in the end. We sort of huffed and puffed first half and dominated possession entirely, and they were never a threat, but we just sort of lacked that cutting edge in that final ball until that point where Kyogo basically sort of got on the end of O'Reilly's pass and tested the keeper. But obviously things picked up significantly second half.
Which leads us nicely on to the second half. Stephen, you want to talk us through this picture? You seen that?
Yeah, it was very nice. Very nice bit of pyro at half time set up by the Green Brigade, and it maybe a good opportunity to talk about the tifo that they showed before the game as well, which covered like three sides of the stadium. It was really quite impressive, and it really shows that when the Green Brigade put their mind to it, they do some really impressive stuff on a day which is very important to a large number of Celtic supporters. So really glad to see it commemorated in that way. The fact it was Easter Sunday, and I think hats off to the Green Brigade for another job well done.
This is Robert's footage. What the old man holding his phone in portrait. Very good. Okay, so back to this. Second half, first goal. This is Kun winning possession over here. He did very well, didn't he? Brian, definitely you remember this. He wins possession, and then he fires the ball across, and it's a desperate scramble, and the ball dribbles in.
Just remember being delighted it was Hatate scored, and I was going to put a bet on him before the game.
You wouldn't have
At a
won.
fiver on a Taddy first goal. I think it was 6-1, and I didn't want to put the Scott on him. So there we go. But again,
Well, you
You've
wouldn't have
lost the
won.
bet anyway.
It was an own goal.
it was seen as an own goal, was it? Oh.
Yeah. Who was it that came off?
Was
One of
it
their
Brendan
defenders.
Brandon
Or
like
something?
that.
Yeah, that's right.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the basketball players. One for the kids there.
It was pretty woeful defending by. It was good by Kuhn, but the defender should never lose that in the first place. And then they're basically all looking at each other. And we just wanted it more.
And this is one of the highlights from the watch along. Who's the snitch saying get Bernardo on, and me halfway through my second glass saying, here comes Bernardo, he's going to do fuck all. And then a few minutes later, was this it? No, this is Kyogo chance that he missed. 67 minutes. This was another one that this keeper saved. Do you remember this, Steve?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty good save. Good save from the keeper. It was I think it was a really good ball in from the very impressive Kuhn. And Kyogo's took it well. He's got a hold of it, and he's made good contact on it. But the keeper's got down well and saved it. Thought the keeper had a decent game up until a couple of the late goals when he probably should have done better. But up to at that point, he was doing quite well. And I think it hadn't been for him, we'd have been winning by 2 or 3 goals by that point. But I think it was a decent save.
And then this is the Bernardo goal. You see, he's just winding up to run onto it there and smack it low and hard. So who's the snitch was right, Brian? Knows more about football than me.
Yeah, great goal. It was one of them ones that was in the back of the net before I sort of saw it. It was just brilliant,
This is great having Brian on.
No,
I can't remember that. I was just happy it went in.
I know, it's a good goal whenever you can't see it coming. It literally, maybe it's my eyesight. Got new glasses, by the way. It just was in the net and they were cheering and I couldn't care if it come off someone's ass or fucking whatever. It was just amazing.
But this was a lovely clean strike. Unlike the first goal, it may as well have come off someone's ass. This was a beautiful strike. Assist from O'Reilly, I think, right?
Yeah. Bernardo does really well in the first instance because he sort of, it's about 50-50 and he wins that ball, shrugs off the player, goes past another and then feeds in O'Reilly. He's fouled, which is what he's claiming for while he's on the deck, but he does manage to be strong enough to lay it off into Bernardo's path, and then he just cracks it first time. Perfect strike in the bottom corner. It's a really good finish.
This is an O'Reilly. Oh, this is the O'Reilly goal, actually.
Actually,
we'll talk about individual players a bit later, but let's just... Well, yes, here's a question by Michael Ross about this goal. Why did the Livy keeper not save it? Yeah, well, as you can see, it's not from very far out for a start.
He didn't really hit it very hard though. It wasn't a particularly good strike, and it was pretty close to the goalkeeper. So I think that would be one he would look back on and say, "Nah, I should have saved that definitely." Good work from Ida, I think, in the run up to the goal. I think he laid it off quite well into O'Reilly's pass to make the space for him, and but I think it was a pretty poor effort from O'Reilly. The keeper should definitely have saved it.
It's a good driving run by Yang as well to get into the box in the first place, and then obviously he links with Ida and he did as well to hold it up and lay off.
Yeah, the only other image of the game before we move on to what we've learned in individual performances and stuff like that would be this one. Did you see all the wee kids in the corner shouting, Kelly, Kelly? It's hilarious. And they're all about 6 years younger than him or something, aren't they? And maybe a bit more. But that was a nice moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, he missed a great chance, Kelly, as well, late on in the game with a header. We were just talking him up in the watch along about how well he was playing and how good he was, and he had the whole goal to aim at with a free header at the back there, this one here, at the back post, and he put it past the post. So he could have just wrapped it up with a nice bow on top with a goal from that piece of play.
So let's go to Paul for man of the match and why.
There's a few candidates, but for me, it was Reo Not Injured. We just look a different team with him in the side, and it didn't take long to realise or be reminded what he offers in terms of the willingness to go forward, look for forward passes, try and progress the game. He's brilliant on the half turn, and yeah, he wasn't far away from getting an actual goal, which would have really annoyed Brian if he'd not put a bet on it. And then he was obviously at the heart of the opener. Bit of just over an hour under his belt. And yeah, came through unscathed by the looks of it. So really good. And yeah, we've said it a few times, but if our key players can stay fit and get back fit in Calmac's case for the run in, it should leave us all feeling pretty positive about the remaining matches.
Absolutely. I mean, apart from the 3 points, obviously, the highlight for me, or the most important thing, was the lack of injuries, hence the thumbnail for this, and Reo didn't get injured. Because the thought of somebody having a crunch and tackle and hobbling off would have been just filled you with a sense of dread for the run-in, Brian. You like a good sense of dread.
Excuse me. It's all going off today. Yeah, it's just great that he's that he's still fit, and we're going to put him out, albeit they'll be targeting him at Ibrox. First 10 minutes, Lundstrom will just try and clean him. It's how he reacts to that, but I think we need to be a wee bit physical as well. But just good to see the boys back and no injuries, touch wood, and let's bring it on.
And Stephen, do you want to make the case for Kuhn?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I mean, I do agree with Paul. Hatate had a good game. It sort of took a while to find his way into the match. He had quite a few sort of loose passes and a few wild crosses early on. But when he settled into the game, he really showed his class and exactly as Paul said, he showed what he brings to the team and what we've been missing when he's been out. But I thought Nicholas Kuhn was exceptionally good, and really looks like a really good player now. And I'm kind of ashamed with some of the comments that have been made about him, from myself included, up to now. So he looked as I'll wear it and I'll take it on the chin. And I was completely wrong. And he had the Livingston left back was all at sea, trying to deal with him. Didn't know whether he was going to go outside or inside, and that's what you want from your wingers. You want them to put doubt into the mind of the defender. And the left back for Livingston didn't know if he was coming or going all day. So great to see someone, and he's got that position nailed down now. But bit disappointing for Yang, who was coming onto a bit of a game before he got sent off at Hearts. But he's going to have to wait his turn at the moment. Well, Kuhn's definitely the man for that position.
It's great we've got depth now there again.
Yeah,
great we've got some depth there. Yang had a nice little cameo when he came on, and obviously Jamesy Forrest had some form of late as well. So yeah, just great to be having that strength and depth back.
Yeah, I was going to say about Kuhn, he's forever involved. Shows really good pace, especially with the ball. He's so fast with the ball at his feet. Great close control at times. So, you're seeing these mea culpas all over the place on Celtic media. People saying, we all wrote him off too soon. We didn't all write him off too soon.
I think it's worth mentioning that I think we spoke about this last week as well. Yeah, it's kind of strange that he was even playing. If he was so badly unfit and so badly ill with whatever was going on with his teeth, that he wasn't able to perform probably on the park. I mean, why was he even playing in the first place? So that's another strange decision that's come out of this season, and I think given the performances he put in the first couple of weeks of his Celtic career were pretty worrying. So I think it's fair to say that a lot of people were justified in being a little bit concerned, if maybe jumping the gun slightly.
Speaking of a lot of people, there's 251 people live watching us on a variety of channels. So hello to everyone watching on Twitter and on YouTube. I didn't manage to get the Instagram one working today, unfortunately. It's a bit tricky. But thanks to everyone who's tuning in, and here's a little message for you.
Hello all the Celtic fans. Here in France we love the Celtic world. C'est fantastique. Subscribe? C'est un fait accompli.
C'est un fait accompli. It's already done. If you haven't done so already, feel free to tickle that little subscribe button. Just one click.
Calv, you need to update the logo at the bottom saying help us reach 1,000 viewers.
Does it say help us reach?
Or whatever it says, I don't know.
Doesn't know about that. Doesn't know about the game.
If you're going to come at the king, you know,
No, but you're sitting, you
you
know.
better not miss.
I watch with my heart, not my eyes.
Well, let's wait till it trickles across and see what it
No,
does.
that's you know.
This is fascinating viewing for everyone. I hope we're glad you've joined us. Where in the world are you? Let us know if you're somewhere
Help us
interested.
build on that magic 1,000 mark.
Change it to 5 or 2.
Is that what it says? Help us build.
Help us build.
Help us build on that magic 1,000. What number is that right now?
Oh, sorry, I'm wrong. Apologize. Yeah, I'm incorrect.
Well, I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself by talking about Matt O'Reilly. Now, during the watch along, when he scored, Stephen was like instantly going, yes, my man. Do you consider him your man, Brian? And what did you think of his performance overall? Because he's still dividing opinion at the moment.
He's still very comfortable on the ball, but he's got a 6 out of 10. You know, every week, which I don't know. I'm happy with Reo. Reo's my man. Reo and CCV, they're my men. Anyone else can come and go, kind of thing. But yeah, sometimes he flatters to deceive. We can, you know. I was really impressed with this free kick. Sorry, on another note, but it's probably the man's been playing this is 34 games, 35 games already under his belt, and you know, playing in Europe, also playing international. He's probably just burnt out a wee bit, you know.
Well, I've been saying the last game or two that I see signs that he's beginning to play his way back into form, and I think he had a reasonably good game. He did some very good things, some gorgeous passes here and there. Paul, are you of the similar mind?
Yeah, well, we've spoken about this over the last couple of weeks. I think his drop off was overplayed somewhat. He was still contributing, albeit not at the extremely high level he was in the first half of the season. And yeah, my view is he's just played too much football because we haven't had that strength and depth I touched on earlier, and because of that, he's obviously at times probably been a bit leggy. I think he's had some illness as well. He's been playing through, so yeah, he looks like he's getting back to his best. And yeah, hopefully, if McGregor's back soon, then we have actually got some depth around the place. Probably a reasonable point to touch on. Iwata had a decent game as well.
Yeah,
and
talk about him.
Yeah, he came onto a bit of a game, so the midfield is starting to look much like the wings, starting to look like we've got some options, which is good. But yeah, I think Matt O'Reilly's still got a lot to contribute in the last few games of the season. And I agree with you. I think he is sort of coming back to peak form.
Did anyone not have a good game, Stephen?
No, I think everyone was really okay. I don't think anyone particularly. If I had to single anyone out, and I'm kind of loath to do it in the back of a pretty good performance, it was probably Maeda. I thought Maeda was pretty awful first half, especially his touch was abysmal, and he skied a few crosses high, wide, and handsome as he's known to do occasionally. I think he probably more than anyone though suffered from the terrible state of the pitch at Livingston. The ball just doesn't run true, and when you're trying to do stuff at pace, like everything Maeda does is at pace. He doesn't do anything slowly. It's going to affect him more than anyone else. So I'm happy enough to give him a pass from that point of view. But I think he was probably the only one who didn't really show up well.
I think the pitch was particularly horrific in that game, more than I've seen it be bad. You know what I mean? Ball bobbling, bouncing, sticking to the surface before crosses and shots. Saw it loads of times in the first half, especially with Maeda, as you say, but also Hatate. And also, it's very difficult to get the weight of the pass right, because lots of passes along the floor from Kuhn and O'Reilly didn't reach the target because they kind of got held up in the additional friction of the surface. And then they try and compensate for that and end up overhitting them. So it's all a bit of a nightmare. As something of a technical footballer yourself, Brian, you wouldn't have enjoyed playing on that surface.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay. No irony in the response.
I think some of the players were actually struggling to keep their feet on the surface. You really could have seen them; they just weren't very sure of their footing at times, and that's for a professional game of football at that level. To have players who just couldn't stay on their feet because of the state of the surface is beyond hideous. And I'm just happy that Livingston seem to be destined for the first division next season, and hopefully we never see them again until at least they have the pitch sorted and we can take the opportunity with only one artificial surface remaining in the league to try and do something about it and try and get something legislated to ban these types of surfaces.
We best hope Wraith don't come up then, because they've got a plastic pitch as well, apparently.
Yeah. But now's the time to do it. Now's the time to just make it mandatory to have a grass pitch. Spoke about this before, but I mean, I'd be quite happy for Celtic to dip into their massive cash reserves to contribute to some sort of fund that maybe be an SPFL initiative to ensure that everyone has a good pitch and everyone's pitch is up to a certain standard, so that these types of things just aren't allowed to happen again.
Well, one thing that should not be allowed to happen again is Monty comparing himself to O'Reilly and mentioning the bedroom. O'Reilly is like me in the bedroom, says Monty. Same level of performance each time without overly impressing.
Is this reading?
I'm going to hazard a guess that O'Reilly in the bedroom isn't much like Monty. What would you think? I've no idea about Monty. Maybe he's absolute stud muffin. Who's to say? All right. Well, that's the game then. Let's move it on. During the international break, I put a tweet out about something which may or may not have caught your attention. I don't know how many people who watch us on YouTube follow us on Twitter, or indeed how many people who are watching on Twitter follow us on Twitter, but this was the tweet. I'm amused by the way Rodgers scratches himself. It's incredibly odd. Yes, now Brian there couldn't resist the urge to scratch himself. Would you all like to imagine you've got an itch in your head? Give your heads a wee scratch. See how you do it. You don't do it like that. Everyone goes for the multi-fingered approach. Sure.
Multi-fingered approach, yep.
Oh, you don't go with... And he keeps all his fingers out the way in an odd fashion. So I'm beginning to think there's something up with it. And then he did this Celtic TV interview. And Celtic TV even accentuated it. This makes me think there's something much more dark and sinister happening.
Assess the strength of your squad as we head towards these crucial games?
Well, I think that obviously we've been getting players back, which is really good, and fingers crossed by the end of this international period that we all come back, and then we're already at the end of this international period that.
Sorry.
Now, there's a few conspiracy theorists in our comments usually, so I wonder what they make of it. Is that some sort of message he's sending out, Paul?
I doubt it. Let's hope not.
Monty has a nice week.
I think you'll find he's maybe a bit self-conscious about his receding hairline there. You'll see that he makes contact with the receding portion of his forehead. And he's maybe just checking if
this down. That's great.
He's maybe just checking to see if it's got any worse during the course of the interview. You know, men of a certain age worry about these things, don't they, Gav?
Well, I don't anymore, but I mean, you've got a sort of bit of both going on, so I can understand why you would jump in with that response.
Yeah, but, I feel it's pain. I'm with Brendan there.
Maybe spreading the wax on his hair. He's just whacked it on, and then he's nope.
I can't
I know
believe
it's
we're
been, I
chatting
know it's
about
been,
this,
I
to
know
be
it's been a
honest.
while, Gav. I know
Neither
it's
can
been a
people
while.
in the comments, I have to
Yeah.
say. I can't believe we're chatting about it. Plunge McNugget. Guys, a guy scratching his heat. Get a grip.
Monty had a good wee thing there, Gav.
Monty's
I can't
head
really-
is like a bowling ball.
No, it's a couple
Got 3 massive holes in it.
Brian's alluded
All
to
right.
the slightly ruder comment further up that you're presumably choosing not to put on screen.
Oh, I shan't put that up. That's much too smutty for
A
highbrow
bit coarse,
channel like
bit
this.
bit coarse for Easter Monday.
It is indeed. Well, okay. Well, look, obviously there's a massive game in the horizon now. Our thoughts are going to start turning to it. This might be the last chance we have, some of us at least, to talk about it before it happens. So the build-up starts now. How are we feeling, Stephen?
Yeah, feeling okay. Feeling as good as we probably could at this point in the season, given the way the season's going. Our form seems to be going in the right direction. We put a couple of decent performances together, which is something we haven't done very often this year. We're getting players back fit again. If Callum McGregor's fit this week, we're probably up to full strength. To be honest, I don't think there's anybody else who would naturally start in the first 11. You could maybe make an argument for Nawrocki, but I really don't think he would be in there anyway. So we're in as good a shape as we possibly could be, and we've got to take confidence from the last few performances where we're making chances again. We've got wingers who are doing what wingers are supposed to do. Taking players on and getting good balls into the box. We have options in midfield. We've got Bernardo there who played well, I thought, when he came on yesterday. And you've got the Iwata McGregor decision, which we might talk a bit about in a while. But whatever one gets the nod, you've got the other one on the bench able to come on if the game's not going in your favour. So, and you've also got Ida up front in the wings if Kyogo's having a difficult time. So I think we can be as confident as it's possible to be in the run up to a game like this. Look, it's always difficult. Even good Celtic teams have been known to come a cropper at Ibrox, especially if you get an official who's not on side and who wants to give them everything. And everything we've seen this season so far suggests that that's probably going to be the case. So we're going to have to be at our best, and there's a few things going to have to go in our favour for us to win the match. But at this point, if you offered me a draw, I think I would bite your hand off for it. But I think we're in as good a shape as we could be.
Would anyone not accept a draw at this stage?
I want us to go and win it.
Brian?
I'm expecting us to go there and win. I take the draw, but I'm not biting your hand off for it. Look, we're as strong as we've been all season going there. We've got 2 wins out of 2 against them already. With not great squads in previous times. Stephen's right, we're on a wee bit of a run. We're creating chances. We're getting depth back. We are going to be going there hopefully with our strongest side if Calmac is fit. And if he is fit, he'll play. And he'll start.
So? That's a definite.
If he's had a full week of training and they're going gung-ho in training, he'll start. He never start. He'll start, and then if he has to come off, he'll come off. They never start Carl on the bench, really.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So, look, if he doesn't start, there's a little bit more doubt there for me. But if he starts, I think and no one else picks up injuries over the course of the week. I think you'll see the same team started yesterday with Carl in for Iwata. And if that's the starting lineup, I expect us to barring, as Stephen says, some sort of referee or VAR disaster zone, like a early red card or something stupid like that.
Almost certain.
It's possible. It's absolutely possible. But I think we've got. Brendan Rodgers loves these games. He absolutely loves. It's when he comes to his absolute fore, and he's pulled 2 rabbits out of the hat already against them this season. And now we're into. They don't like pressure. And this is a pressure match, especially because we're going in. Yeah, they've got a game in hand, but we're going in a point clear. We win that match, we're 4 points clear. It doesn't matter what they do in their game in hand, and they've still got to come to our place. I think that you win here. I think you go in and win the title. That's how big a game it is. So I think you've got to be going all out for the win.
If we win here, we go on and win the title.
Yeah.
If they win, it's still up for grabs.
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
Go ahead.
We still got that game. We still got that game to come to ours. But I think whoever wins the match is in the driving seat. I would say.
What do you think of the officials here, Brian? Can you?
It's just embarrassing. That they have the balls.
Monty's comment or
no. William Beaton. You know, take it. John Beaton as the referee.
Yes, he's called them all William. You see, that's the joke.
Yeah, that's the joke.
That
but it's embarrassing and arrogant and typical of the SFA to put Beaton, a controversial person, in there. And you know something, it'll be good for us. We'll not be playing against a low block for once. But my word, do you know something? I think I loved it. I'll just go out and tank them 3-0, couple of broken legs, get it done. You know what I mean? They always need a foot up. You know what I mean? Hibs are rotten, and they got a penalty against them to win the game. We need, I don't know. I hope to God somebody with a pair of balls was watching. Hopefully Desmond can go in there and sit and watch the game and sit in the director's box and throw a bit of muscle about the place. But I think that Sky will want it to be a draw, so that the league run in can continue. I really can't see them winning, but I can see us. I can see CCV sent off after 5 minutes or something ridiculous to try and jeopardize the game and bring it on. But Brendan will be training on a game with 10 men, or what if you lose your goalkeeper? He will be training and coaching for every eventuality that potentially could bring.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be very exciting, man. I mean, it's too exciting to do a watch along to, surely. I heard Dano saying, "Hey, are we all doing a watch along for the Glasgow Derby?" And I was thinking, no way. You know,
I couldn't do it.
You don't want a camera on you when you're watching that game, you know.
I would get banned.
300 watching live currently. Hello, everyone. Subscribe.
Why don't we do it? Why don't we watch it live, Gav?
I'm not doing it. No way. I mean, I don't mind if a couple of people want to do it, but I'm definitely not doing it. Mm-hmm. And what's the point in watching a sofa with the top of Brian's head sticking out over the back of it? I mean, that's not very good.
That's it. Yeah.
What about the allocation for fans that has changed, Stephen? Are you welcoming that? Do you see it as a victory for Celtic, a victory for common sense, step in the right direction? Will it ever get back to what it was?
Well, I think it's a victory for Celtic, isn't it? Because the Rangers were the ones who started all this, and there's been numerous theories floated about why they did it. The most popular one was they were fed up with getting gobbed off Celtic at Ibrox and watching a full stand of Celtic supporters celebrating. But it shouldn't be forgotten that they've actually sold season tickets for the areas where the Celtic fans used to be, and they're now having to relocate season ticket holders to make room for the away allocation. So this was it was a cash grab by Rangers as well. We know they need every penny they can get a hold of. So it was them who instigated this, and I think it's probably a step in the right direction rather than being the absolute the final situation should be. I would love to get back to getting the whole end again, getting the whole Broomloan Road stand at Ibrox, and for Rangers to get a similar amount of tickets to Celtic Park. I do think it adds to the atmosphere. Obviously, us watching it in Australia, it doesn't really make any difference to us. But having been to loads of these games in the past, and there's nothing better than winning with a load of them lot in the stadium so you can just give them piles and piles of abuse on the way out. So I think it does add to the occasion and add to the atmosphere. I think it's probably a step in the right direction.
Definitely. So let's talk about, well, firstly, Mahesh keeps leaving comments about the game, but we've already moved on from the game that's just passed. So maybe you could tell us, Mahesh, in your thoughts, what really has to happen, who has to do what in a tactical sense for us to dominate this game coming up or to get the desired result. So starting lineup, everyone seems to be of the opinion that McGregor starts if he's fit and ready. Do we think, therefore, that it's a return to the old Calmac, O'Reilly, Hatate midfield, Brian? It served us so well in the past.
Definitely. And if it's not working, we can bring with bodies on the bench. We can bring on. I would nearly, and controversially, you know me, I would nearly start Ida in front of Kyogo.
There it is. Should have a klaxon for Brian's moment of the week.
No,
that's it. Ida in front of Kyogo against Rangers.
For the first 25 minutes, half an hour, first half, just because they're going to go at the wee man, they're going to go for his shoulder, they're going to try and do what they got to do to try and put him out of the game. So Big Ida can handle himself. Let's get through, as we did against Livingston, let's get through 0-0 at half time and then switch it up when required, because you bet your bottom dollar they will be going for the wee man from the off. And there's no point starting Kyogo, losing him after 20 minutes. I'd rather start Ida, and he's not going to be muscled out, and then bring the wee man on with half an hour to go. But
well, that's the Brian take. I think this is what Monty puts down here, I think, is more than likely what's going to happen. The starting lineup. Anyone want to comment on that? What about our wide players?
I think that's I agree. That's the team. You can't leave Kyogo out. He's got the 2 goals that have sort of won both fixtures against them already this season. So he's got to play. All well and good saying we could go in 0-0 at half time. We were heading for 0-0 at half time in the first game at Ibrox, and he scored that one right on the cusp of half time as an absolute screamer. That's enough to take the 3 points. So he's got to play for me. If it doesn't work, he'll get more room. There'll be more spacing behind. He's coming onto some form. It's tailor-made for him. Their centre backs are slow and clumsy. I think he's got to start. And if for any reason it isn't working, like I've said earlier, you've got Ida to switch it up on the bench.
It's not that it's not going to work, Paul. Ideally, it will. I mean, it normally will work, but we've got 45,000 of those horrible fans. We've also got the referee in their pockets, so it's trying to manage the game from a point of view of let's not. There's almost like 4 games within the game. There's the 15 minutes, 20 minutes of play. Kyogo on a normal day against a normal team, normal opposition, but it's not a normal team, and it's not normal opposition, and it's not normal refereeing. So it's
just not normal. None of it's normal, Brian.
Normal, yeah.
Well, here's the question: are they a noticeably different Rangers from the one we faced previously, Stephen?
Well, I think the main difference is that their manager seems to have a bit of a clue what he's doing, and you can't really take it away from them. They have done really well since he's came in. They made some decent additions in the January transfer window, and it does seem to have improved their team. Having said all that, I still think our first 11 is better than theirs. And I think this game will be won and lost in how they deal with Callum McGregor, and how we deal with how they deal with Callum McGregor, because it's going to be all about getting the ball from our defence into midfield as quickly as we can, and that's how the game's won and lost. And if they do a good job of man marking McGregor, then we might have a bit of a problem. But how we deal with that situation is going to be important. I'm pretty sure Brendan's got a plan. Now, half of me almost thinks that it might be worthwhile, starting Iwata instead of McGregor I don't think it will happen. But it gives them a different type of problem to think about. I'm sure they'll plan for McGregor starting the game and make their tactics, their tactical setup appropriately. But I think that's going to be the critical part of the game, and it's how we can transition from defence into midfield.
I was mute there while coughing. Mahesh here. Thankfully, Rodgers' system allows Celtic to win possession and second half momentum against Rangers. Celtic do that and stop Tavs and Yilmaz. If he's fit, transition game, good chance of success. Okay, well, it's very exciting. It's coming up soon. I suspect I'll be talking to Paul about it again on Thursday, but this might be the last time Stephen and Brian are here. Do you want to give us score predictions?
Stephen?
Very, very difficult, but I think we'll win the game. I think we'll win 2-1, and I think we'll get a goal from Kyogo and one from Hatate.
Can you imagine the atmosphere if we win 2-1 afterwards? It's going to be amazing. Brian?
I'd go with Stephen, 2-1.
Okay. Happy days. Let us know in the comments what you think.
Do you want goal scorers?
Okay,
Daniel Kelly and Joe Hart. No, I think Hatate and Kyogo.
What about Ida? First goal, 3 minutes.
He'll be there for the first 60 minutes, throwing a few elbows about the place, and then Kyogo will come in, and then Hatate will seal it for us. Hatate.
Interesting. Paul, do you want to stifle that yawn and come out with a score prediction at this stage?
No, I'll wait till Thursday.
Got a few scores coming in there. 4-1 says Plunge. Monty, 4-3. Christophe, 2-0. Is that how you say it? 2-0. And Bernardo, 1-0 for Ultra Video or Ultra Wido. Must be Wido. Wido. Wideo. Okay. All right. Celtic socials, gents. Brian, this one's for you from me. A little mention of the Northern Ireland political situation. P. Diddy has offered to pick up Jeffrey Donaldson in his private jet. Don't know about you, but this story is just unbelievable. It's absolutely seismic, isn't it? At home, imagine, Brian, where you are.
I just staying away from it all. No interest.
And nothing funny about it. I mean,
nothing funny, and it's all about him, and it's not about the victims. And you know,
and the word on the street about the victims, we're not going to say too much or anything, but it is a horrific story.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on it, but it's horrific from the point of view that these guys shove religion down your throat, and this, that, and the other, and then really they're up to no good. As she said, Gav, earlier on, power corrupts, and I think the wife is just a horrible woman as well. And no word about the victims.
Imposing their theocracy on the people.
Yeah.
And then doing this kind of thing.
It'll be good. I think we can look forward to seeing Rangers' social media and their social media accounts going after Jeffrey Donaldson with aplomb now. As we know, they've got a particular interest in that and in those types of things.
Well, speaking of social media, this is yours, Stephen. Can you see that? Tell us what this is.
So just a tweet put out by the Hibs official Twitter account during the game against Rangers on the weekend there, and it was basically penalty to Rangers, who had 20 minutes. Obviously, a sign that everybody was expecting Rangers to get a penalty, and it was only a matter of when it was going to be. Now, I think, this is what I was talking about earlier. It's all very well and good having a joke about this, but until Hibs and other teams like them actually get serious and do something about it, and then nothing's going to be done. It's also worth mentioning that that tweet seems to have landed Hibs in hot water with the SFA. And there may be a fine incoming, which is was absolutely laughable to me.
Because SFA said it was going to be 19 minutes.
That's right.
You know, the penalty was meant to be 19 minutes. They said 20. No, joking aside, it's embarrassing when you do. You know, if somebody's dirty Joe and you, if you're a business owner or something like that, and somebody turns around and your nearest competitor makes a comment, you know, it really needs root and branch change within the SFA.
Oh, it definitely does. It's an absolute joke. It seems. I hope it's coming to a head. I mean, what else is it going to take? We need some action. 320 people watching live. That's awesome. I think that's a new record. Most people on Twitter. Yeah, as Tam Mac says, oops, Hibs, not for fuck's sake, Frank. Hibs facing sanctions for that. It's crazy. And the final Celtic social media pick of the week brings us to the end of the show on a happy note, as Brian wants to wish everyone a very happy Easter.
Yeah, for us of a religious nature, I thought this was a fantastic one. And Brendan, we trust. Well, and Brendan, we trust for the next 8 or 9 games. Yeah, he's getting his players back. There he is. He's got a couple of ladies there left and right on. Hail.
Not sure that's the way I would have phrased it, but yeah.
What way would you have phrased it?
A couple of devout young altar people.
Altar ladies?
Is that what you're supposed to say?
Altar girls. We're not allowed to say girl. Altar females.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Depends how they identify. So anyway, it's a minefield.
Let's just say
not go
altar
there.
servers. I think that's probably the safest option.
Altar
Good man.
servers.
Thanks for weighing in and helping us out there, Stephen. All right, on that note, thank you so much, everyone in the chat, everyone watching on YouTube and Twitter, and of course, a big thank you to Stephen in Sydney.
Thank you, Gav. Great to be here as always.
Brian in Ireland.
Thank you very much, everybody. Hail.
And of course, Paul in Perth.
See you, folks.
See yous.